Okay, guys. Now we are going with the another session, which is data access layer to creating the .NET project. The very first project that we want to create is a data access layer, and all my sessions. If you are following one by one, so basically, I want to take it to you the end-to-end and .NET project execution, so that you will get some good idea about how to quick start your .NET projects. Okay, and now as part of this, I want to create a first data access layer, and then the service layer, then web API, and then UI. So now I want to go with. So what you have to do is the very first time you had to install the .NET from the MSDN, Microsoft MSDN. If you have a license, you have to use it. So that's how I preferred. And then once you install the Microsoft MSDN from the MSDN, if you install the .NET version, now you can go to the type with the run window, and then Microsoft Visual Studio. So I have a Visual Studio and the Visual Studio Code also, but I want to go with the regular Visual Studio application, which is mine. I have installed 2017. Now I'm taking into here. So I want to create my first project. So create a new project by click on here. And then you could have where there are multiple things here. What are the installed ones? Now you can go to the C#. So basically, I mainly maintain the C# and either you can use the VB.NET also, but I would prefer to go with the C#. Most of my covering videos related to the C# and um, the sections that you have here. So in the Visual C# and then go to the web, then you could see there are core and .NET Framework applications. So if you are using the core, so you can go to the core web application. Right now I'm using um, the web application, which is a .NET Framework. And then I want to create a location where I want to use my projects. Um, this and see projects and then test projects, and then I'm creating a new folder. Folder training videos. And then let's select this folder. Now I can create something like since this application is to maintain the servers, which is a server server info dot data access layer. First, I'm creating the. Okay, let's do one thing. I don't want to go with um, directly to the web application for now. Let me do one thing. You can use the Visual C# and go to the class library, which is a .NET framework, so that first data access layer is to be a class library project. So I want to use a server info dot data access layer. Then the server info is the solution name. Then now it should be in the training videos. Now create a directory for the solution. If you want to click, and you can click it so that it creates the solution. For the solution name and the project name, I don't want to keep the same name. So I'm using the framework is 4.6.1 for now. And then select the class library project and then click on OK. Now if you go back here, so this is a solution name, which is a server info, and the server info dot data access layer. So basically in the data access layer, I want to create an entities, the one that we in the previous class that we created a database objects. So I want to add it here by right click on this project and go to add new item. In this, you could see there are WPF code, data, general, SQL Server, web, WinForms, and Xamarin. So I want to go to the data since it is in a entity data model. So there are different types here. So first we want to create a ADO.NET entity data model. So I would say this is a server model. And then click on then the designer from the database. So now I want to add the database table objects by click on the new connection. So basically all you need is you have to take whatever the connection that you have, the server name. So go to your server name details when you are connecting. Basically it comes from here. So take that and then putting your, sorry, I shouldn't have clicked the drop down. So usually it is looking for all the servers. Okay, now select it, the server, and then go to the authentication, SQL Server authentication. Let's go back and see, and there was, you can give your credentials when you install the SQL Server database projects, and then go to the databases where it gives you the list of databases, and we want to select the TestDB. Okay, I think 1 second had some issue. Let's, okay, now go back to the project again and go back and add new item, then ADO.NET model and server info model. And then click on next and go to the new connection where you could give the port ID also. There was a missing some point of time, sometime back. And then select the database, which is TestDB, and then try testing the connection. If it is succeed, and click on OK. Basically, it asks you the TestDB entities, and then click next. The framework 6.x, you can select whatever the latest one, and then now it gives you the tables list here. So basically I want to take these 4 tables and then test DB model and then finish. So basically this is asking the running template potentially harm the computer. So all you need is you click on OK. So now it is preparing the entity diagrams and the tables and objects into the Visual Studio Framework. So now you could see all the tables, table contacts and table server and operating system and server type and the relationships. So basically all you need is This is the one where we are using all the tables. So basically, which is a one-to-many relationship. And then now I want to rebuild the project. So now I rebuild the project, and by default when I added, so basically there are few libraries which are added, which is Entity Framework and SQL Server. And this is mainly the EDMX file. So in this EDMX file where you could see basically if you are successfully created and everything is okay, basically if you can go to the server info model.tt, where if you expand this, so it creates the specific the table which is an objects and classes. Go to the table contact, so you could see the table contact.cs. So how it creates the each column, which are the properties on the table. So mostly it's generated by the .NET framework. So now you could see all of these, and the same thing for operating system, server, and server types. So and then if you go back to the packages, so this is a package basically whatever if you want to install some new which are related to this project, and if you want to add something in libraries, you want to add it in the package config by using the NuGet package manager. So whenever it's managed NuGet package, you can browse something if you want to install, and then if you click on the install, basically it comes over there. So for now, I don't want to install anything here. So all you need is we got the EDMX and then package, and I don't need this class file since I'm not writing any code in this data access layer except only the EDMX files. So I'm deleting this and then go to the app.config, and then it gives you your connection string details. So now this is pretty much the project. So I want to create a model project where whatever these objects which I want to create a replica of the models. So now if I can go back to this and creating a new separate project, the reason why I'm going to the new separate project, I want to use this model across the web APIs that I'm going to create and the UI layer. So that's why I want to keep it. This is in a separate project, which is a class library project again, which is a class library, and the training videos, and it takes you to server info dot model project. So now click on here, it comes here. And then if I'm going to the contacts, I want to take all the properties from here, contacts, then create a class, add new item, and then class contact model .cs, that will give us, make it as a public, then copy paste so that I could see all the properties. Then if you want to see these nullables, you can convert by using this the data representations kind of thing. So instead of nullable, if you make it as a fix all occurrences in the document, so basically it converts as the bool colon, integer colon, and data time colon. So that way, you know, this is a Boolean value and the nullable, and the integer and nullable, date time is nullable. Okay, so this is the contact model. The same thing for operating system, where you can take the operating system model, go to here and add new class, operating system model. Then I add, go to the public Then copy and paste here and save all just in case you don't want to lose your work. And you don't need this class one, delete it. And then server. So I don't want to take this virtual object, so if it is really required then we can use it later, but I want to take only the specific server. So now go back to this, add new class, server model. And then change this to the document, which is it converts to the document model. And now the last one I'm taking the server types. Go to this and add new class, the server type model. So now I'm adding the server type model, make it as a public class, then adding this, and now rebuild this project. Okay, so now rebuild the entire solution. Okay, so this is succeeded and it creates a 2 succeeded and 0 failed and 0 skipped. So pretty much I covered in this session. To recap the session, so first I want to create a data access layer project. So if any time when you're doing any projects, if you are using the entity framework, so I want to separate it and the code is a bit cleaner and make it as a layers wise. So that's one of the purpose that I created a separate projects for each and everything. So for one data access layer, you can use this project, then creating the entity by using the EDMX entity model, then adding all the database table objects, and the app.config, it creates the connection string details. Once that is over, and then I created another class library, which is a models, which is these models can be used across multiple projects. So hence I created a new separate project. If sometimes, right, so some of them, they go with only a single project, and within this project, so they creates like a folders like data access layer folder and service layer folder and web API folder and UI folder. You can even go that route. It doesn't matter. So whatever it is, but still, it's all the individual choice and how the project is demanding and how your team is liking and not liking. So you have to go with that model. So, but anytime the separation of either it's kind of in the single project or multiple projects, the code will be very cleaner and it's reusable and they can be very readable and anyone can understand. So that's the main intention. So now go to this model and then creating a specific model objects for each table. So that's all pretty much I covered in this right now. So we'll connect back to the next session, which is the service layer. So that we will do it in the next session. And thank you so much.